Hey.
Hello.
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 Let's see if it actually starts streaming. It's a good question.
It's a good question.
It's been acting
Just saying
really
hello.
uber flaky lately. Flaky. Here it goes. That's going live. Oh, yay, we're live.
Oh,
Yay.
Huzzah.
That delay.
Hello.
Yeah, hold on. We're not it's Q&A time. What the hell?
We always start with Q&A time.
We always start with Q&A time.
But
Q&A
however,
time.
that is a
Ooh.
good thing to bring up. If you have a question, put it in the bracket so that way we can spot it and
You're
get
jumping
to
the
it
gun.
during the show.
You're jumping the gun.
I am.
Like all over the place. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Into the Portal and EverQuest Next podcast. We're going to talk about EverQuest Next, mostly EverQuest Next Landmark tonight because we have lots and lots of stuff to talk about. I am joined tonight by our normal cast of Tobrand, Legendary Neurotoxin, Locke, and our new addition, Mr. Snowman Wilk, and a new special guest tonight, Ara the Bearded Wonder.
I did one day, yeah.
Yeah.
I had to fit in. I was feeling a distinct lack of Y chromosome. So.
Yes. She went out and bought an extra Y chromosome, came home, put it on. It looks great.
I made this thing. I made my Y chromosome.
She made it herself.
I did.
Through sheer force of will.
Took some multivitamins.
So, Ara, as our new guest tonight, you have to come on and tell us a little bit about yourself, your channel, and all that stuff. So, are you ready?
I suppose.
Okay. Tell us about your Twitch channel.
Well, basically, I got started not that long ago. Started just over a month ago, and it's been growing like crazy, and I'm super happy about that. Mainly been focusing on building and doing a lot of modern stuff. Like I've done several modern houses, and now I'm doing a cabin, which I'm gonna have to work really, really hard to finish this weekend now, I guess. But yeah.
The cabin looks amazing. If you guys are into modern houses at all, it's really a great job. I was started a modern house a couple times, but it didn't quite come out as nice as hers. So, yeah. Hello, Shog. Make sure you guys are putting your questions in the brackets, just like Mr. Legendary Neurotoxin just said.
Yeah.
Put them in the brackets so that we can grab them up. Mr. Stockus is in the house tonight. He's doing our moderation duties. So, yeah.
The name there, by the way, is Shagu.
Shagu.
So, hello.
Shagu.
Shagu.
I call him Shog. I don't know why. You.
It sounds terribly fancy.
does.
Ara, link your channel in the chat quickly, or just write something so I can follow you.
Everybody go follow Ara while we're waiting to get this
That's
thing
it.
going.
Following you already.
Yeah. Just era_gaming. Yeah.
I can has follow, absolutely.
I can
And
has
cheese
follow.
and cheeseburger.
And cheeseburger.
Hello, Zentelis and Zenitals. Sentinels. It's like Sentinels with an X. Hello. All right, so we have nothing to talk about, right?
Nothing.
No,
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing at all.
No, nothing going on.
Literally nothing has happened.
Nothing. So I guess we can finish.
I
up
was,
right
I was in the Sahara Desert.
now. Oh yeah, Locke, tell us about that real quick before we get going. Let's talk about Locke, who went on an epic Moroccan adventure. So.
You know why it was such a good choice? Foos wanted to go for ages, so that was brilliant. But also, all of the buildings in Morocco are basically square, and they have flat, roofs, and all of the decoration is like inlaid really evenly and really square. So now I can be all like, I'm doing all the Moroccan-inspired architecture that I found
In Landmark.
No, I'm not. I'm not rubbish at building. I'm not lazy. What are you talking about? It is Moroccan-inspired. So yeah, that's going to be my excuse during closed beta.
That works. Well, what else did you do while you were over there? Did you?
What else did I do?
You brought some.
I was out in the desert. I was riding camels. There was an oasis and Casbah ruins that were amazing. Loads and loads of places. Like everywhere you went, it was like they filmed some of Gladiator here, and I was like, that's cool. That's like my favorite Mel Gibson movie. And
Lawrence of Arabia was Mel Gibson.
yeah, like Marrakesh, like around the souks and everything. what I loved about it is when you get less kind of, because I think when you live in like a more developed country, like everything's very regular. Like where I live in England, it's all very kind of post-industrial, and it's all like the terrace houses, like everything's very flat. You know, it's just like a long row of houses. But when you go somewhere that's so old and everything was just kind of built on top of everything else, and everyone just got in wherever they could, I think it is actually, you know, it's quite a sort of inspiring thing to think about the way that buildings kind of put together and like a more sort of organic process of building. Because, you know, I like doing stuff like that rather than the one big building. I like doing lots of kind of smaller.
When you were out in the desert, did you have a tendency to want to dig up some sandstone blocks maybe and bring them back to the town and like build something? Were you like tempted to do that at all?
You know what, me and Fu, both of us, like we'd go past a building with like some interestingly inlaid windows and just both kind of look at each other like, yeah.
Microvoxels, I could do that.
Yeah.
That's cool. No, a landmark is like eating my brain because I'm seriously driving around now going, oh, I could make that building. I could make that building. I could do that. I wonder if I could do that one. You know what I mean? It's really...
So, like, seriously, in Morocco, like in Marrakesh, where we were, it's like everything is really sort of square and like, and like that's so you're like, that'd be easy. That'd take me like 5 minutes.
It's like, man, where did they get that texture? Was it the patch?
Love the use of texture there.
But, you know, yeah, beautiful place. My first time in Africa. I would highly recommend everyone go at least once. So yeah, that'll do surely.
Very nice. Very good. Okay, so yeah, I guess we can get to the news. Everybody's alluding to it in chat. Yes, I know. The beta keys that were supposed to be a single week beta key for closed beta have now been unlocked and are now completely unlimited for the entire closed beta, which is amazing. I always thought the 1 week thing was a bit punitive in a way because I thought, you know, we spent $100 on these and yeah, it's great to give away a week beta to my friends, but you know, what's that really going to do? Obviously, they're going to get in the game, love it, and then they guess they got to go buy it, but now they just unlocked it for everyone forever that has those keys.
Yeah, I think it's cool, isn't it? It's a super cool bonus. I mean, from the way I understood it, it sounded like they were just going to flood everywhere with beta keys anyway. You know, it'd be like how it is with ESO and WildStar at the moment, where they're just, you know, there's more keys than there are people interested. So I assumed it'd be that kind of situation where they were just giving out thousands and thousands to every fan site. But I think it is a nice touch, and I think it's a really cool bonus and a nice little perk for the people that chose to order the bigger packs, I guess.
Yeah.
Normally, when you guys follow and I'm people are talking, I don't do anything. I kind of do a dance, but my neck is in so much pain. I'm just going to give a thumbs up. That means thank you so much. I love you guys. Big hugs and kisses. But I can't do that right now because my neck is... I'm sitting here with like 6 pillows around me. And if I try to do the Domo happy dance, my neck will snap right off and I'm dead. So I'm just going to kind of just do a thumbs up. It's good enough. All right, thanks. Continue on, Mr. Legendary.
So they've got, there's basically 2 forms of the beta key. There's the one that comes from the Trailblazer, which is the unlimited access, and then there's all other forms. The ones from the PC Gamer, the promotional ones we'll probably start seeing as soon as beta comes out. Those are just going to be 1 week, but you know, only the Trailblazers are going to be the full duration. It's pretty smart to do that because, I mean, people might still, if they've got the full duration, they might still throw down on a Settler or even a Trailblazer, but someone who got it through PC Gamer or you know, just won one randomly through watching one of the shows, they can still potentially get those folks to try it for a week and see if they really like it, and if they do, then, you know, throwing down for at least the Settlers pack. But there's a lot of there's a lot of really good stuff kind of going on with it, because what it does now is you can actually have one person, instead of saying, oh, I'm going to buy beta keys for me and all my buddies or Settlers packs, now instead you can be, I can buy a Trailblazer for myself and give all 4 of my buddies the key, and I'll still have the awesome Trailblazer stuff. So fun stuff they can do with that.
Yeah, it's really nice. I think it's great to be able to open it up to everybody and be able to check it out. Now, here's the cool part. People are like, well, you know, Alpha's over, so what's the point of getting a Trailblazer anymore? What's the point of getting an Explorer pack? Like, you know, because we can just now get the other pack. Trailblazers get a 48-hour head start. Now, in a game like SWTOR, probably not a huge deal to have a 48-hour head start, but I think I paid $100 for that beta back in the day to get the head start over there. And so, if you already have an Explorer pack, or you already have what's the pack called for the? It's like a Founders pack. What's it called? Settlers pack. If you have the Settler pack or the Explorer pack, you can upgrade them to the Trailblazer by just paying the difference in the money. So it's still pretty worth it, if you ask me.
Yeah. Oh, and you also get your name in the credits.
And you get the name in the credits. Yeah. What happened to Ara's face? It exploded with Y chromosome.
That's a true story.
Yeah, true story.
A glorious maelstrom of testosterone.
I know.
She fell into a vat of testosterone.
I took up a terrible steroids habit.
But your voice didn't change.
Be warned. No, yeah.
No, it actually did. You should have heard it before.
Yeah, it was even higher. It was like helium. The thing is, everybody, she made that herself. She braided it and everything herself. So
I'm gonna have to make a video on how I did it because I took a lot of pictures.
The cool, and I've seen a similar one before, but hers is epic just because it has. She used like a wavy kind of yarn, so it's really, really cool.
It's very fluffy. I had to thin it actually because it was kind of intense. It was like that here. It's like a throw.
Nice. Oh, this is Sesai. Oh, hey, thanks, Charles Wood. Sesai's got a really great idea. I'm going to read this off because usually we don't read stuff as it goes by in the chat, but this is a great idea. Just a thought: if you currently have the $60 pack, and if you have 2 friends and family that want the Settler keys, have them give you the $20 to upgrade yourself to Trailblazer, and give them 2 of the new keys, and then charge 2 other friends $20 for the keys, or just give them away. But that is a great point. You know, you could easily just, if you're already an Explorer, you could just upgrade real quickly to the Trailblazer. Then you get your name in the credits, you get all the goodies, and Bob's your uncle.
I think it's a difficult thing though, isn't it? Because it's so subjective. Like, how much are these packs worth? I think, you know, if you look at the sort of like material things that you're getting out of the pack, like, I think it's difficult to justify how much it is. But I think, you know, there's a subjective value, isn't there? There's a kind of sentimental element to it. There's wanting to be part of it, and it's that kind of emotional thing that you're paying for. I think, you know. That's why I did anyway. I wanted to be part of it, and I wanted to support it. And in 5 years' time, I want to be all like, oh yes, I had a prime grappler. Yes, yeah. I've got my Trailblazer flag, and I'm very, very important.
Oh yeah, by the way, they're replacing all the prime grapplers with those Ixar monks that are with Omid on the back. So
it'll be all of us guys making jokes about burled wood, and like the players will be like, "What are you on about? It's easy getting burled wood," and we'll be like,
Back in the day, we used to have to chop for 20 minutes. Yeah. Sitting on a porch, drinking whiskey, waiting for people to walk by so we can tell them about the old days. We used to walk uphill, snow both ways, and we got cogwheels every single time.
Just to walk around, and the trees would disappear.
And to come back, you'd
fall through the ground.
You'd go to a portal and go to somebody else's server, and you'd fall to the earth.
We were glad of it. We were lucky. We had nothing, and we were happy with it.
We loved it.
Had about 10 different props.
We had to run everywhere.
That was enough for us.
Yes.
The way it was. Yeah. All right. So, what other new stuff came up? We have a patch, big patch. Let's see.
Beta.
Twitter live stream end of alpha parties. I guess we all have to have an end of alpha. We never got a chance to build our Omid statue. Ellaby was supposed to give me the head to Omid, and I went over to her claim to pick it up, and I wasn't listed as a person who could pick it. You know, it was like the red claim box. I was like, crap.
Aww.
I couldn't get the head from Omid. I was gonna at least put it on in my dungeon in the hole in the ground, and then we'll figure out what to do with it later. But so Ellaby, if you're listening, please give me permissions on your claim so I can pick up that head.
I have the flat portrait, the 2D one that was done on Omid's claim during the big group building day. I've got that templated, so if you want that as at least a replacement, we could at least do like a giant picture of Omid for now.
Sentinels, I have 500,000 Dogecoins at the moment, if that will help you out. All right, Sci-Fi says, LOL, I couldn't get the head from Omid Geekdomo 2014. Yeah, you can quote me on that. Make that into a ringtone.
I can't remember. The Landmark Live this week was actually the whole Year of EverQuest thing. Year of EverQuest. So I don't really know if they. I can't really remember what they talked about other than that beta's on the way. Or did they even say that beta was on the way? I think they saved that till after.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was in a desert.
You were in a desert.
Yeah.
I did get to take part in the Year of EverQuest celebration. If those of you who might not know, if you check out my channel, I have a video I just put up that I did with Jesse Cox and Kiori and Krendor. Basically, I'm the expert, or I'm the veteran, taking them through EverQuest 1. And also every week, Snowman Wilk and a couple of us, we get together and we play EQ1 right now. We just leveled our characters to 85 for the free level 85s. Do that, everybody. Even if you're slightly considering getting the EverQuest right now, you want to go back to nostalgia, at least go and get yourself a free level 85. It's free. Just log in, make yourself an 85, and then come back and play it at some other point. That deal is going away soon, so I think it's the 26th is the last day you can do that. So just get in, do it. You get 16,000 platinum pieces, which isn't a lot these days, but it'll be enough to get you started. And you can make whatever character you want and then save it for later. Use it for a farming character if you really want to. So
there was a roundtable response video on weather. That was Terry Michaels and Omid talking about that one.
Mm-hmm.
That one is... It's a good little prompt, but I say it's a prompt because it really is that by the end of it, they're kind of saying, we've got a lot of cool features we want, but we want to hear from you folks what you want to see in it. So, further requesting discussion from the players about what we want to see with weather and weather systems.
It's interesting actually. It's something that I was worried about during the development because it's something that's come up a lot, that they'd kind of focus on these like organic weather systems that moved around the world and everything. But it sounds like actually they have systems in place that are going to make it quite a relatively easy thing for them to do. Like something that I thought would be incredibly complicated and take a lot away from the rest of the game. Sounds like they've got ideas of ways to integrate it. But I think for me, it's just so much something. It's like in the would be nice pile. You know what I mean? Like if I'm out and it starts raining, I'm not really that bothered that like the cloud system moved over the plains and up into the mountains, and that's that's what's made it rain. Or if there's a hurricane or something, like in the game, I'm not really bothered that like two different pressure systems collided.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one of those things that you go, oh yeah, that's cool.
It's not bad,
but it's
yeah.
not.
Yeah.
It's not about players affecting the world, and it's not about players interacting with the world. It's just a thing.
Well,
there.
I mean, they could do things like you can only find, I don't know the flora and fauna, but pristine moon lilies or something while it's heavily raining for at least 30 minutes or something, which in-game is basically like a full day.
There's no reason to create a whole weather system for that.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You could just have is it raining, is it not? It doesn't
Is it raining?
need to
Is it not raining?
dive
Well,
in.
it could be the kind of thing where maybe someone wants to just kind of chase the storm and try to collect whatever goodies or fight whatever baddies that would come with it.
I think what would be more interesting is if a heavy rainstorm actually uncovered something in the landscape. Rather than make something available to be harvested, just make it that's a random chance to like uncover a new cave or a new source of materials.
It could be,
Yeah.
but again, like that's not something that you would need a dynamic weather system for, is it? It's not something that you would actually need a system. Like it just have to be this type of area has this type of weather, this type of area has this type of weather, and it all makes sense. And you're running around the world and things happen. You can interact. I'm just saying, like the development time to make a system like that could, in my opinion, be better spent giving players tools within the sandbox environment, you know, to affect the world rather than, you know, just the world affecting them, I suppose.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't want to take that away from the programmers that want to do that awesome weather system, though. I mean, part of this is that people just want to, the people working on the game just want to make it as awesome as possible and put in every awesome feature that they've ever wanted to. So I wouldn't want to take that away from them. But to be perfectly honest, with all the emergent AI systems and such that they already have in the game, it doesn't seem like it'd be that much of a stretch just to pretty much have the weather system, this large kind of global set of characters or, you know, whatever that are more or less just interacting in a very, you know, simple and organic way, but the effects of which are seen on, you know, large spread scale across the world.
Just to be clear, we're talking about Landmark right now, and we're not talking about the possible repercussions of getting it into Next if they do develop it for Landmark.
I was kind of thinking about both, to be honest. I think at the moment it's the type of thing that, in my opinion, makes more sense for Next than it does for Landmark. Because I know on people's claims they want us to have like custom skyboxes, they want us to have like our own weather on the claim and all those kind of things. So I think, you know, it's something. It's just, for me, like I said, absolutely, it's a really cool thing, and it does definitely belong in that like would be cool pile. But I just worry that if there's a feature that, you know, that could open up the possibility of what we as players could do to affect the world, you know, that couldn't be solved by a much simpler system, you know, like do the whole Occam's razor thing, turn the rain off, turn the rain on, simple algorithm rather than creating this big system. But as Reese said, you know, the Storybricks thing could be a great jumping off point for that if they use that kind of AI to allow the weather to move around the world and like the different types of weather to interact. It could be, you know, it would be great. It would, you know, that's what I mean.
All right, Tobrin, you have anything on this one?
He's eating a Jaffa. No, what does he got tonight? Is that a Jaffa?
I've got Jaffa and Iron Fruit. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, he's got his typical dinner. It's his Friday night dinner.
It's good.
No.
I'm in the category. I'm kind of with Locke on that one, where it's just like, yeah, would that be awesome? Yes, but it's just sort of I would rather see those resources go somewhere else at the moment. I think there's a lot of other cool things that would really affect gameplay and affect what players will do, you know, and versus just creating more stuff behind the rain, you know, like creating the systems and stuff. I think it's just, I don't know.
What else is happening this week? Let's see. We got the roundtable response. Oh, you guys want to talk about the zero negative space Alpha Centauri voxel system Mark 1 tachyon warp core field that the guys made up the other day?
That's the exact name, right?
Yeah, that's the name that they kept using. They said it about 400 times during their thing, so make everyone like, we gotta use this name because they made it up.
So basically, someone figured out a way to copy a space within the world and only take a selection that you actually placed down. And it's done by restoring a section of land and then carving it out and adding what exactly you want copied. And so if you wanted like just a letter C to be copied and nothing else around it, you would restore a single plane of voxels. You'd carve out the C, you'd fill it in with whatever you wanted, and then copy that entire thing, and it'll just be the C that copies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to restore the ground with the heal tool, and then you put down whatever, like you were just saying, your letter C, and then when you copy that, it doesn't copy what the heal tool was there because basically that's virgin ground. The game doesn't know how to differentiate it. Then you can pick that C up and you can put that anywhere, which is pretty cool. I mean, you could put it into walls and stuff, and it doesn't take. You know, normally if you were to grab the letter C that you drew on the ground, like in the open air, it would grab all the empty voxel space around, and when you go to put it in the wall, it would then be a square around it because you grabbed the square to grab the C. So now what he's saying is you can just grab that C out of the dirt and pick it up, put it in the wall, wherever you want to put it. So it's pretty cool. I have to try it, but unfortunately I have zero space left on my claim that I could re-heal up to anything because I went from corner to corner, top to bottom. I have no room left at all.
Yeah.
So when we get to wipe, I'll probably try some stuff like that, but...
Oh, I can just give you permissions on my claim if you want to mess with that. I'm more or less just trying to hollow out all of the thick space in my claim and get the million voxels out of it that don't need to be there. So
yeah, I'm worried
it's
about
a
that too.
Fun project.
It's good. It's interesting. We were talking about this exact thing last week, weren't we? Do you remember when we were saying like copying stuff and having all that like space around it is really irritating, and now it's
But the problem with this is it still wouldn't allow you to do intricate things, because remember, any smoothing that gets done, that's going to be warped and deformed by the heal tool and whatever else too. So
I don't know. I saw that guy doing he was doing like paintings and things. Obviously, I've been away, so I haven't been able to look into it. I'm sorry.
Well,
you know,
but what shape are paintings? They're already rectangular. They don't have to worry about that sort of thing. But like with the spiral staircases and okay, yeah, a ring, I suppose, but I mean, still, you're going to be placing it on a large flat surface anyway if it's a big painting.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't need the 0 voxel data. You just have to match whatever you're placing on in the background of the mural then.
Okay, that's cool.
But something different, like a spiral staircase that's actually round, that you're really not going to be able to do with the current technique, because how are you going to get the actual stairs formed if you have to carve it out?
Or wouldn't you just build it underground?
Okay, but the point is though that whatever you're
you know what?
You've just healed a set of the ground
about this system.
He was in the desert.
I need to get my hands on it and do it a little bit so I understand.
Okay.
Let me just explain it this way. There's 3 things that can happen when you're trying to copy a space. Either it's a type of voxel that is part of the terrain and will not be copied whatsoever, so it will not be pasted. There's a type of voxel that is empty space, just plain air, that will be copied and it will be pasted, but it does not cost any resources. It's just air. And then there are, of course, our normal physical voxels, which can be copied and pasted, but of course, they'll be surrounded by either air or terrain or whatever, or some combination therein, depending on what's in proximity of it when you copy.
Well, and there's also the difference, like if you're building in air, if you copy something that's floating in midair, if you've previously selected that air and deleted it yourself, like manually, that'll copy as empty space. But if you're just building, like if you built in that area fresh or whatever, you haven't messed with it in any way, it'll copy no space. That's
interesting.
Yeah, like I've played with that, because that way you won't get that empty space.
Do you mean like building above ground, or?
Yeah, like I did it with my roof, and I thought it was like, I thought, well, that's weird, but basically what happened was I hadn't, like, if it was a space where I was building into the mountain and so I cleared it out first while I was building, like I'd actually deleted those voxels, that space would come up as pasted as empty space. But if I did it like I was building just up in the sky or something and then I copied it and pasted it later, wouldn't paste the space.
Oh, okay. That hasn't been the case for me, because actually 90% of my 3 claims are above ground. 2 of them are completely not even touching the ground.
I think the trick was that, like, when I was doing the thing that I copied later, it was in an area that I hadn't worked in before, where I wouldn't have ever built something there before and maybe deleted it. You know what I mean? Like, it was like virgin voxels, Yeah, I think that's maybe what. It could have been a bug too, but that's been my experience.
Cool.
I'm just reading about the stats and the quality bonuses. How the stats work post that AVR put up on the thread. I guess I can put the link in the chat so you guys can check it out.
Sure.
There has been so much this week. Do you remember? Like a couple of months ago we were doing these shows and it was like, should we even bother doing it? We've got like nothing to talk about it, and now we're here going like.
Now we have so much that we can't.
Seriously.
I just can't do it anymore.
So much stuff to talk about, which is great. I mean, it's great that we actually are not as vapid as we used to be, but.
I miss the vapid. I miss the discussion.
We can be vapid.
I'm not here for news.
So, what type of beard products do you use, Locke? I think Ara might want to know.
Sorry, what's that?
Type of
a little unruly.
Beard products do you use?
I do. Do you have a shop called Lush in your home nation?
Yes, we do.
He might.
Yes?
She might.
Shop called Lush. There's a hair moisturizer called R&B. It smells like vanilla and honeycomb. And
I know of this. Yes, I know of this product.
occasionally coconut oil, but apparently food tells me it has to be virgin coconut oil. And also, I got this stuff from Morocco.
Virginal coconuts. What do they do to deserve that?
Virgin coconuts. They displease me.
They're still more
Really, I need to
coconutty.
switch to listeners.
The difference is that more mature coconuts actually don't taste nutty. They just taste more neutral. But I feel like are we going off a little subject here, or
No.
are we just?
No.
I mean, I know the beard stuff is very important.
What are you talking about, Reese? We just said we want to get more vapid. There is nothing more vapid than discussing beards.
Just the perfect time for me to turn up. Isn't that just perfect?
Just general grooming discussion.
Yeah, really. I mean,
Honestly, if we're going to be talking, maybe we could get Brass on here to talk about beards sometime. I mean,
she has an epic beard. Yeah.
She is quite the beard enthusiast.
Yes.
I also got some new shoes.
Excellent.
Nice.
Very nice.
I went shoe shopping.
So, which flavor of Iron Brew are you drinking tonight, Tobrin?
I think there's just one.
Oh, it's offensive. There's Iron Brew is Iron Brew. There is no flavors. It's just
they don't have like an
it's
orange
it's
or
impossible.
or a
like,
lemon.
no, literally. That is it. That's all it is.
Excellent.
There's no
excellent.
flavors. That's
It's like
it.
it doesn't taste of anything other than Iron Brew. It's not anything flavored. It's not like anything else. It's just this horrific thing that they have in Scotland, and we can't make them stop doing it.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Right, but here's the thing. It's like trying to describe the
Sorry,
taste
we've
of
tried.
like Coke or something. You can't do it. It's
Or
like,
Dr. Pepper.
Try to describe a Coke. Just try to do it. You can. Or if you can't,
If you mix like a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of lime, and some vanilla together, it gets pretty close.
that sounds horrible.
Dr.
Actually,
That's basically what it is.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's actually oddly accurate.
Well, you need the
Things you never
sugar
think
as well.
about.
You need sugar to neutralize the acidity, but apart from that.
All right, I guess we can
Yes.
get back on topic. I get Legendary's losing his mind.
actually, I was about to start talking about the golden cola, the stuff you'll see from like Latin American countries. I love that stuff. It tastes like pink bubble gum.
And it's golden.
It's good stuff. Yeah. The first time I had it, I couldn't quite appreciate it the same. My palate matured after many years, and it didn't taste like just straight corn syrup, but delicious pink bubble gum.
Excellent, excellent. Welcome, Omid. I saw you hop in the chat here. We were actually just talking about EverQuest and everything, but what happened to Ara? She's disappeared.
Oh no.
Hey, the word Alex. Hey, she's back with her regular face.
It was driving me crazy.
I wish I could
drink my
shave that
tea.
quickly.
It was getting cold.
She lasted longer than Tobin normally.
I know,
does.
right? Jeez, Tobin.
Okay.
Oh. I couldn't drink
wonder
my
how
tea.
you-
I was like, I kept it's like what's it? Is it? Oh, the name of the Greek guy who can't ever get to the water. I don't know.
Oh,
Do you know what I'm talking about? The legend, the myth. Anyway, sorry.
yes.
Ara, is that mug giant or are you tiny?
She's very tiny.
Or is
No, it is giant. It's I have a big spoon.
The word Alex asked me how Kevin Bacon is. No, I didn't say that I am related to Kevin Bacon or I even know Kevin Bacon. I'm within a couple degrees of Kevin Bacon, Alex. So
You're
therefore-
related to Kevin Bacon?
Not at all. But you've ever heard of these 6 degrees of separation of Kevin Bacon?
Yeah, sure.
It's a game. My sister's best friend in high school is Adam Sandler's wife. All right, so I know her, and if you connect the dots enough, you get closer to Kevin Bacon. So I was telling him that. Now he knows me
Adam Sandler, you can get to anyone from Adam Sandler.
from Adam Sandler,
surely.
right? That's what I'm saying. So you just got to figure out what movie that his next door neighbor was in or something like that. So
Yeah. Kevin Bacon as well. Like when I play that game, I always go to Sleepers because Brad Pitt's in that, and Brad Pitt's a lot easier to go for me anyway. Should we talk about EverQuest?
yeah, we could. I know,
That sounds like a good
Cyberwolf,
idea.
my back is in extreme pain right now, but I'm doing the show anyway because I tried to do it from my bed and I couldn't get it to work. So here I is. So
You're a trooper.
at one point, I might dodge out if the pain gets to be too much. I might step out for a little while. I actually have a wonderful picture that I set up here. Hold on.
Lovely.
Let's see. Where's my picture? Where'd I put it? There it is. Oh, that's not it. Got 3,000 different things in here. Where did it go? I'll find
What's
it.
happening right now?
I was just looking for the picture that I have for my overlay here. Go ahead, Ara.
I was just corrected. It's Tantalus. That's the figure I was thinking of. Got it. Got it.
There it is.
Continue.
There we go. There's the picture. If I have to dodge out at some point during the night.
What is that? The guy that his penance is he has to drink the entire lake or something?
No, it's the one where
he would constantly be thirsty. He would have unending thirst, but he could never actually quite reach the water. He was like right next to it and he couldn't quite get it or something.
because anytime he would approach it, the water would recede.
Yes, that's the one.
Good times.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is the best. This is the
Sounds
best
like a Friday
podcast.
night for you, Howlock.
This is the best EverQuest podcast in the world.
So factual.
Oh, Diggs,
The
you just
more you
missed it.
know.
She's not beardless. She's actually very bearded, but she just removed it temporarily.
I did. I shaved really efficiently.
So that's the picture I'm going to put up if I have to step out because the pain is getting pretty big. But we'll troop around here, everybody. Matter of fact, usually I duck out at the Q&A time anyway. When I start giving away the grappler codes, I don't think there's even a point to give away grappler codes at this point.
I've been able to give them away left and right. Every time I'm in game, I ask in general chat. First to say beer gets a prime grappler code, and very quickly someone says beer or whatever phrase I want them to say. They'll say it. They'll say it very quickly.
Oh,
So-
I think the difference is just like people who watch streams a lot, like those people all have them, but a lot of people don't. I mean, those people
Yeah,
don't.
we'll give them away
so.
then. I mean, I have a bunch. I just every time I go to give them away, everyone's like, "Who doesn't have a code?" And I'm like, all right, fine."
Hey, it's last chance to see though, isn't it? They're going to be going away soon.
Yeah, they're gonna be replaced by
People want to get on that prime grappler train.
the
5
XR
years
mount.
time. They don't want to be the one that didn't have one.
the XR mount. Yeah, telling you, it's coming.
It makes me wonder, though, when they add the option to increase the stats on items, will tools be the only thing you can do, or will grapplers be part of that too? And you'll eventually be able to make a grappler as good as the prime grappler.
Are grapplers technically tools though?
Well, you equip. I mean, it's made with the same system. I mean, you can randomly get higher quality, so right?
That's the point. Would pulverizers go in the movement slot like a grappler does instead of in your tool slot like a pick? Because technically it's a movement thing. I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah.
Please.
And you're gonna be able to swap them.
Well, I just think it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's technically a movement thing, isn't it? The pulverizer, because it just allows you to easily travel through Earth instead of through air. And if you think of how much of the environment is Earth, like would it go in that grappler slot instead? I'm just thinking opportunity cost,
I feel like it would probably end up being a tool because I don't think they would want you mining and pulverizing at the same time. It's an active thing that you're doing with the pulverizer. It isn't. I don't think you're holding E and looking in a direction and it just grinds in that direction. I'm pretty sure it's a click and hold sort of thing, or maybe you click to turn it on and click to turn it off.
Well, but
or whatever you've keybound.
you can't mine while you're in while you're moving with the grappler either. You have to actually be stationary.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've been able to mine while grappling. Mine while grappling.
While
I've been able to
moving through
harvest.
the air.
Oh, not while I'm moving through the air, but while I'm grappled to something. I mean, I guess actually, I have been. I probably.
I'm just saying, just as a thought thing, would it make sense for a pulverizer to be a movement tool rather than, because I assume there's going to be, we've heard that there's going to be more options for moving through the world than just the grappler. We're going to have floaty things and glidey things and all kinds of different things, which I assume will go in that slot. And I just I think it was strange if there weren't ways to move underground in the same way as through the air, since so much of the game is underground.
Mm-hmm.
Just a
All right. Time to moving on. Okay, what else we got for this week? Let's go back here.
Oh, the group harvesting bonus.
When's that going? I missed that part.
I think they said it's already in, isn't
It's
it?
in.
Oh,
It's in.
Going with
Yeah.
the last patch.
It's
yeah.
a flat 20%, which is
If
interesting.
you get a full group of 4 people, isn't it that you have to?
I haven't even got a chance to play
Or
since
is
the
it-
big patch.
Any group gets the 20%. I thought it was that you had to have the full group to get the full bonus.
It very well may be. I just read the patch notes. Like I said, I've been away. I apologize. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting that it was a flat percentage increase rather than like other stuff we were talking about last week of how it may work. I think it's probably the best way to just get people to group together. Although I was thinking today, is there like a proximity thing on that, or do you just have to be? Do you have to be on the same island on the same server, or do you just have to be?
No
Because there's
idea.
options to just add a friend to a group. So if I like log in and find one of my friends and go add to group, and then they just add me, and then do we both just have the 20% bonus because we've added each other?
Snowman Wilk says, going up with your pals and get a 20% bonus when mining harvesting. A party can have it with 4 people in at a time. Doesn't say if it's a 20% full group or partial.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what it also doesn't show is if you get the bonus only if the person's in the world with you, or if they're on a different world and doesn't matter, because then there wouldn't be a reason not to be in a group if you can get it, even if they're on a different shard.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wouldn't make sense to just not be in a group because you'd be getting so many less resources.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool, it's great to have those like super incentivized grouping things, but I just think it'd be a bit weird if it became
It's
you didn't have to actually actively be with other people to get
it's
it.
a
'cause
group
then,
incentive, but then also it's a solo incentive while being in a group, because you wouldn't want other people there taking everything you're getting a bonus on.
Yeah, that's the
That's
thing. I mean, that's what they talked about it being. That's the whole reason they implemented it, so that you weren't punished for trying to play with other people, like gather with other people. But the 20% bonus isn't going to, if 2 people are competing, you're going to get 50% of what's there. So 20% is not going to really.
maybe it's a speed thing. If it's a speed and safety thing, if you think, talk about going underground a lot, like when you're moving through the earth and looking for things, maybe that'd be an element and obviously with the danger aspect as well. I know that Reese hopes it's going to be pretty damn dangerous out there when you're when you're running around, and if there's that strong an incentive to group anyway, that 20% bonus, and then if there's also that added danger, which means maybe like you might need another person if you're going down a couple of tiers, then it could be a nice kind of a nice way to a sort of double incentive, like a carrot and a stick. You'll get more stuff and you'll be safer from the danger. We talk all the time, like we want reasons to group together. It's the reason that we play these MMOs. So cool, I guess.
Yeah.
I just wonder if dynamite is going to be changed at all, because right now it'll blow out a large area, but it doesn't collect any resources. And I'm wondering, how that'll actually interact if a group will potentially be able to make more progress if everyone comes with 100 strong dynamite and just throwing them down in a hole, laughing like a bunch of crazy rednecks.
Oh
Yeehaw! Let's blow up some. Yee. Yeah.
Well, but does the pulverizer only go through dirt and it can't go through resources, or
It goes through everything, but it doesn't destroy anything. The stuff will reheal as it was before you went through it. So if you pulverize through a copper vein, it'll reheal the copper where you destroyed it because it isn't collecting it for you.
Well, no, I didn't get that from when they were talking about the pulverizer. I just got that it was like the dynamite. It destroys the voxels. But I didn't remember if they said that it can go through anything, or if it'll actually stop if you hit a resource. Because if it
doesn't stop.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's indiscriminate. It's just.
So
Yeah.
then dynamite
idea
is
is
useful
the
for groups
opportunity
to
cost
try and
of
find the resources faster, I suppose,
Yeah.
because it won't destroy the resources.
Or when there's
That's
combat to
the
blow up
idea, is
chompers.
It's the opportunity cost of it. It'll let you move faster, but the cost of moving faster is the resources that you would have gathered. I know that. I remember from Ara's page that she plays EVE Online, so she can tell us. She can tell us something about opportunity cost.
Oh god, yeah. No, I won't.
But that's the point. I hope that there's a lot of stuff in the game like that. I hope we are going to have to make. We're going to have to make choices like that and be like, do we want to move fast or not? And then that's where I always talk about this, but that's where you start looking at roles within groups. 4 people isn't that many if you think, we're going to need one person to get us through the dirt, and then we're going to need another person who can, I don't know, mine on the ceilings in the caverns and stuff. And we've got to look out for each other. We need people that can fight. And I think when you start looking at a group in that way and you say, there's all these things that we could take, but what do we have as a group that is gonna best work together, for the situation that we think we're going into? That's when you create interesting choices for players rather than what we're used to in more deterministic games where it's like we need a tanker, healer, and 3 DPS.
As of right now, there really isn't any reason why the muscle that's protecting the group would have to be in the party with the harvesters. If everyone's getting their harvesting bonuses, if they're all harvesting together, then the people that are doing the guard duty wouldn't necessarily need to be in that group. They can be in their own separate group. And if there's combat bonuses that can come out of that, then they're actually better off being basically their own little security detail, separate from the actual mining group.
And maybe they'd want to be compensated for their time in that way, as a security detail or mercenary group, as an escort group. Hopefully, like that's exactly it. It's like this is the type of thing that I hope happens, and bigger groups form, and more elaborate chains of supplies start coming about from people working together to find the most optimal thing. It's what people always do. People are always looking for the most optimal path, and I just think it's if you can design the game so the most optimal way is to get people to work together, like that's when I think you've got something really special for a persistent online multiplayer world.
Yes, the essence of sandbox, like that's
exactly. Yeah, it's the EVE Online thing, isn't it? It's no one's telling you to do it, but it's just that's if you want to move forward and you want to make progress in it, then that's just what you got to do.
I would like to make a prediction though. Someone is going to make an alternate account and then take them all the way down to the bottom tier and sit them there, and everybody friends that person so that they can just teleport right down there.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be something people do.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's necessarily going to work that way. The teleport to friend might be a surface dependent thing. Like it'll take you above directly where they are, but it'll do the snap to surface sort of thing. So I don't know if that'll actually
There'll be SOE. They'll find some way to combat that kind of thing.
Can you imagine if you could like troll people, but like if you put yourself in a position where like if you discover they'll teleport like to your head, like whatever point they're actually teleporting to, and then like get yourself like in a little pocket or something and make them go into the dirt and then they suffocate or something like
suffocate.
Someone does it.
I suppose you'd still have to get back up again, but then that's easy, isn't it? Because you can teleport to your friend that's already on the surface. So
there's going to be caverns and stuff. You're going to dig down, and there's going to be large open spaces. Kind of think of like Terraria or that sort of game, where it isn't just solid earth the whole way down. It's you'll dig for a little while, and then you'll find a passage, and you can follow that, or just keep digging and try to find another one. That's
spelunking. Best part of Minecraft. That is that first couple of days where you got your rubbish tools together and you start going in the caverns and you're just screaming like a little girl every time you hear that hiss. Run away!
Yeah. I mean, what I want to do too is if you're in a cavern, say, if you're underground, you're digging, and you have to log out. So the world will regenerate itself after 20 minutes or something. If you're in a space that you dug and you log back in, are you SOL? Like, are you gonna be covered over by dirt? Like,
no.
Like, you know what I mean?
If you log back in, and this is how it works right now, if you log back in an area where the world has rehealed, it automatically just snaps you to the surface.
Well, I thought that would
That's disappointing.
Yeah,
just like we have a escape to ground, which is nice.
What if the snap to surface puts you right on a chomper?
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you log out somewhere unpredictable. You're gonna log in and be piranha plant food.
It really is amazing, like how a thing like Risk and like exploration, these are huge parts of the game that are really going to affect the way people play from day to day. They're not even in yet. Like I remember one thing Dave Georgeson said. They were putting risk and danger in, and death was going to be in. You're going to be able to die in Landmark, and he said that there would be a sting to it. And I think I wonder what that sting might be, to be honest.
Yeah,
Resource loss, just raw.
But that's
loss.
money though. That's if you can buy resources off the marketplace. I think that's if someone. Imagine if like an 8-year-old kid begs their parents to let them to buy them some station cash for their birthday, and they spend it on resources, and then they go out and die to a chomper because they've never played a PC game before, and then they go to their parents, and their parents go, "Why aren't you playing that game anymore?" And they're like, "Oh, the plant killed me, and I lost all my stuff."
Well, it could definitely be limited that it's only voxels you've collected within X amount of time. Anything you've purchased will never be lost in that way.
Or
I guess that's
like the EVE equivalent is if you forget to update your clone, right? You lose skill points. But you don't lose all of them. You don't go down to congratulations. It has 600 million skill points. Like they pick out like a small percentage. Be like, did you learn your lesson?
Well, regular EverQuest 1 was pretty punitive.
HTF, get back out there, little guy.
EQ 1, if you died enough, you lost a level.
I would say Ultima Online was actually probably the worst punishment, especially their anti-PK stuff they put in later on was just really bad. Initially, you die, you lose some amount of stats and attributes. If you get higher reputation levels, it doesn't get reduced in any way. But as the game went on, they made it that if you've got lower reputation, especially all the way into full-on evil, then somebody killing you or you dying to a creature pretty much meant make a new character, because your stats and your attributes were so wrecked from that you're worse than a new character at that point. Mm-hmm. And you've got your terrible reputation still.
I don't think you could get away with that in a game that wasn't a very niche game anymore. I think especially for a free game.
Yeah.
For a free to play game, if you gimp characters in that way, and it was like a real if it was like a real power loss, that's such a quit point. You know what I mean? Like if people are there and they die and they come back and they go, "Oh, my character's rubbish," like, I'll just stop playing.
Well, also with Ultima Online.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say with Ultima Online, also there was nothing soulbound whatsoever. Everything that was on you could be picked up off of you when you died. So if you didn't get to your corpse before someone else did, you're getting looted.
But that's even that though. Like people hate that at the time, and that's how many years ago. I still every time I talk about PvP, people tell me about this. But that's like how much of an effect it had on people and how much people hated it. And that is all the way back then when it was like there was very little competition. There were very few other games that were even remotely similar. And nowadays, like how many good free games can you get? Like just on Steam, like now, like how many could you download if one game pissed you off and you're like, oh, I don't feel like that anymore. And especially Landmark needs players,
Could do like a res sickness kind of thing, like for 15 minutes you get your stats significantly kind of chopped, where it's not like a permanent thing, but that would be annoying. You wouldn't want that to happen to you, I
think it's the classic thing. I still think. I don't know. I'm saying all of this isn't ideal. I don't really have a better suggestion, to be honest. But I think it's difficult, isn't it, to find a balance between you want people to not want to die. You want it to be bad, and you want to create that tension when you're out in the world, and when you face danger, you want it to be tense and you want it to be exciting, but you don't want. I think what you don't want is you don't want to stop people playing the way they want to play because they've died. You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
Well,
anyone in chat got any ideas?
there is a limit to not wanting people to stop playing the way they want to play, because there are some people that will just run around no matter the consequence, and
but then they'll just never.
If there's not enough bite, they're not going to stop just running around doing absolutely nothing of value.
Yeah. But then they'll never get anywhere. They'll always just be running around.
Yeah, well, you don't care until Leroy Jenkins happens, and then somewhere down in the magma layer, and all of a sudden there's like 50 magma dragons swarming you. That's not really that fun. They just kind of tagged along the entire time. They're just hitting little things here and there, getting little resources and all the bonuses and stuff they could, and then finally down at the very bottom, when you finally get there, Leroy Jenkins happens.
God damn it,
that's
Leroy.
No. A better thing was
me and Pooh still say that to each other.
Since you're on the WoW thing, when they added the green dragons, one of the things some people like to do was pull the dragons into cities and just create havoc. They'd spend 4 hours pulling the dragon along, because you have to tank it the entire time, otherwise they'd leash back to their spawn point. And so they'd just continuously pull it along until they got to the city, and then the dragon would just go crazy.
Yeah. One of my friends who had worked at Blizzard apparently had the pleasure of trying to make those green dragons more relevant in the storyline and everything, and unfortunately, well, we know how that went.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I guess it's Q&A time.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Get there.
Was it mentioned that closed beta has a date yet?
Oh,
26th, right?
Yeah, so
everyone knows.
If we didn't mention,
everyone supposedly knows, but we never mentioned.
Sunday is the last day of alpha. Monday and Tuesday, you will all be living in darkness. Wednesday, they're hoping it'll be up. We don't know what time of day. I don't know if they're going to do Landmark Live or not. No idea what it's going to be. It's going to be all crazy and stuff. And Omid's just going to be sitting there drinking scotch.
Absolutely.
Something of note to think about, though, is if caves don't go in on Wednesday, then you're looking at either caves going in when open beta launches, or there's going to be an unexpected wipe during closed beta.
Or they just add more islands and
do
it that way.
Okay,
would that make
sense?
Can't
do that.
Just adding more islands to have caves in so they can test it?
I mean, the point of caves is to change the distribution of resources, so it'll get rid of the island tier thing. Well, if you add, you can't have both going on at the same time.
Exactly.
You have to switch over the system, which means that's going to affect everybody. That's not going to just affect those islands. That would be really kind of, whichever would be easier, whether it's easier to go and farm down to caves, or if it's easier to, if it's more plentiful to find it on different islands, then people just farm the heck out of whichever island, you couldn't split that.
They could just revert all of the islands to tier 1, but otherwise leave them intact. All the old islands.
They could do a lot of things, but they're not gonna try and solve problems that don't have to be there.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It would just be easier to do a wipe and add in the caves.
I think, ultimately, it's something that's been delayed. From here, and there was an interview on Zam.com with Georgeson from GDC. That's ZAM.com. They were talking to him, and it was kind of obvious that it's something that they wanted to have in for closed beta, but it's something that's been a little bit delayed. There's a lot of moving parts involved in it, so it is a shame. I think with the huge influx of new people coming in, we're going to be seeing a lot of those posts of there's nothing to do, you just run around and dig stuff up. And my head's just going to go after so long of it already, but so you've all got that to look forward to next week.
What I'm most concerned about is a situation like what happened with Vanguard, where everybody's going to get a taste of it and they're going to be like, oh, the game's not done, quit.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's tough. I think with it being free when it launches, it'll be one of those things that people might try it and go oh, whatever. But what you don't want to end up with is a situation where on the forums the story of Landmark is there's nothing to do. It's just a builder. I think that's the kind of the danger point for me. But if people go on and just go, they might come back. When there's new stuff, when they hear that combat's in and everything.
It depends. Actually, the modability is, I think, going to be the big thing, especially after launch. The ability to make your own custom campaigns and RPGs and all of that stuff. I think that's going to be the really big draw, and that'll probably bring a lot of people back if they checked it out and left at some point.
Yeah, definitely. Long term, I expect, because Landmark's one of those things. It's always going to be growing and evolving and changing, and there'll be a point where someone will see it around and look at it and see it on the sides and just be like, and then one thing will appear. Someone will come up with something new, and that'll be that'll be a year down the line that finally makes them download it because it's free. Such a low barrier to entry.
But also, there's the stigma that because it's free, you've got one chance to impress those people. And then if they have a bad experience with it on that first chance, chances are they won't try it again later on, even if they do hear good things. Because it's a free game, I can go to something else, and it won't matter.
Yeah, there's free games that are really good. There's free games that I've played and enjoyed, and then just stopped playing and just stopped thinking about. I remember. I think it was when Rift went free. I played it for a week on my stream, and I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was great. And then I just stopped playing it and moved on, and never for no reason.
Same exact thing happened to me, Locke. I was playing it like crazy, and I just stopped.
It's really silly. You just running around constantly and just firing things. It's just ridiculous. At least leveling up is. But I recommend everyone try that. It's free.
All right, I'm gonna step out for a little bit, guys. Who wants to do the Q&A? Read off the questions for that.
I demand Tobran does it.
All right, Tobran, you do it.
Okay.
I'm going to take a little bit of a break, guys. My back is really starting to hurt.
Scroll all the way to the top.
I'll be back. I don't know what Legendary is doing.
I think he's sorting his screen out.
His black shirt almost matches the screen exactly.
He's practicing his camouflage.
He is. He's actually in disguise. All right, I'll be back in a little bit, guys.
Your stealth level is increased by 1.
Okay, so the first question is from...
Read the question, Tobran.
Okay, it's from Caveron, and he says, "Where is Tobran's pipe?
Read the question.
You're lacking, son." So apparently I need a pipe now. Yay. Okay.
What was the question, Tobran? Read the question.
Where is Tobran's pipe? You're lacking, son. It's not even a question, it's just a statement.
And a powerful statement, Tobran.
A powerful
needs
statement.
to be addressed.
But you can teach me the ways one day. Right, Death Rises asks, will you be able to build an EQ and landmark when the game goes live?
Yes.
That's a good point, Tobran. Where is your pipe?
Okay, this is happening. Alright.
Oh my god, I can do this now.
Okay, Enochitel asks, do you agree that cooperative building, like happening on Daphonics Twitch channel, would be better at community building and group building rather than raiding that has been going on in MMOs? Like
apples and oranges?
Yeah.
That doesn't need to be an or. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I suppose, let's look at it this way. Would you rather fight a bunch of different things with a bunch of people, or build something with a bunch of different people?
Well,
I would personally
it's both for me.
The building of community and group bonding, though, and they're comparing apples and oranges because you get a different experience with raiding with people than you do with building something with them, and that's the crux of it, I think.
I mean, for me, it's that I want to do both. I want to get a group of people together to build a giant thing, and then afterward we assign teams and fight it out.
Yes, but which one would bring you closer together as a group?
That's so dependent on those people. That's so dependent on the group because some people really generally just do not like combat, and other people are bored by anything that isn't combat. So it's just it's going to depend on the people that you're talking about.
I want all the people that go on about the raiding in EverQuest and like having to do it in shifts and like camp mobs and things. I want those people to make raids in Landmark. I want them to be obscenely hard. I want them to take over 100 people. I want it to be the first person to tag it. That team get to fight it, but then the person with the last hit gets all the loot and has to distribute it. I want it to be ridiculous and hardcore, and I want as if you die, you lose everything, and you have to delete your character and uninstall. And I want it to be the most brutal, grueling thing, so they'll shut up and stop telling me that that's how the game should be.
It has a trillion hit points, and every attack it does reduces all of the equipment that you have to the next lowest level of material. So by the end of
it, in all seriousness, obviously that's a joke, but in all seriousness, it will be interesting to see how big these guys' EPs really are. You know, all these Billy Big Balls guys that are like, raiding should be the hardest thing in the world. It's like, let's see, all right, do it then. You make it.
I was
we'll see.
Yeah. I was talking about this on my channel the other day, where we're in a different era of gaming. Like, you know, it's not necessarily it used to be better or it used to be worse. You know, it's just what people used to expect from a game has just changed. And so if you were to deliver that now, it's a completely different expectation. It's not. So people, longing for the days of, kind of the walking uphill both directions in the sun or in the rain, and it's
3 feet of snow.
3 feet of snow, yeah, exactly.
We were lucky. I tell you.
Swimming through a lake of lava every morning, just to get to school.
Just to get to school, and we were lucky. But that's what I mean. I think it's going to be brilliant, because I think there is still a community that want that. You know, there are still people that out there that want that experience again, genuinely. You know, it's not just a nostalgia thing. It's like that's the type of gameplay that they enjoy, and Landmark's the ideal thing for these niche groups to come together and be able to create that for themselves. You know, and be able to do that. So we'll see. I'm sure it will happen, and I look forward to it. And hopefully they'll let me be part of it.
Someone just said, screw your raids. You weren't there for 100 Berlin plank. That's exactly right.
Yeah. Try 300.
Yeah, where it's like 100 per plank, yeah.
No, I was talking about having to collect 300 Worldwood planks to get all the top tier crafting stations in Alpha. Yeah. Fun stuff.
The horror.
Next question.
Yes, okay. Same question.
Read the question, Tobran.
Can we ever hope for water? Can we ever? I'm just waiting for you to
I didn't even do anything.
I know. It's anticipation. Can we ever? Yes. Can we ever hope for water to erode certain voxels like sand or dirt?
I hope so.
That's what they eventually want to get to if they ever get the resources and the time to do it. But as we've said before, they've probably got better things to do right now.
That's cool, but that's just one direction. They also need to have earthquakes and uplifting events and such that will restore mass when it's been eroded enough.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. It's been alluded to, and it's definitely something they'd like to put in. I think, yeah, I mean that'd be an incredible thing to have in EverQuest Next. I think, especially like in a more persistent world, to have like for the map to be changed in that way. Like I think could be interesting. And as Mr. Snowman himself was saying, if water would erode certain areas, like it could uncover an underground area that perhaps hadn't been discovered, and you get interesting things like that. Same in the other direction, if you get volcanoes erupting and things, there could be things coming out of that in areas that they might not have been before. So I think if you want to create a dynamic world, if it's possible, it'd be so good. I'll just never go outside again.
Differential weather effects per server would also be interesting, because that would mean every server would be completely different after a period of time, after the landscape has been changed so much.
Can you imagine the amount of QQing we'd see, though? If I started on a mountain and now I'm in a lake bed and just like it's all Can you imagine?
A flash flood destroyed everything I worked so hard for.
Should have used sandbags.
Friggin' didn't have a
I'm not
wall.
going to have a rant about immersion. Should we have the...
Here we go.
I want the world to be immersive. Okay, carry on. Sorry. I'm in such a bad mood. I think
Read
I'm
the question,
cranky from
Tobin.
traveling.
Okay. 2 to 3 days ago into beta. Do you think it's going to be big? Like what? Wait, what?
That's what she said.
He's saying
That's what she
that
said.
Tobin,
Is it?
The whole question itself doesn't make sense.
they're saying that because it's going to take so long for them to put the next patch into the live servers to make it go live, because they're going down for 2 days and they're coming back up Wednesday. Do you think it's
Will it
going to be
be
big, like
unpatched
Watering Caves
Galactic?
T5, maybe 6 ore and a lot more props? Why else do you think it's going to take so long?
Now I get it.
Okay.
Okay. What do we all think?
It's a lot of back end stuff, a lot of technology. You know, the things that they just need time to like reset and get everything geared up. You know, they've got to get prepared for a big influx of new players as well. So you know, they want the stability to be there. As far as size of patch, you know, they'll get everything in that they possibly can. You know, everything that's finished and stable. So I mean, I hope it's a lot.
I think right now their current server architecture can support about about 10,000, 15,000 people, and with all those beta keys and stuff coming, they're probably going to need a lot more. Plus the amount of server space to accommodate all the people coming in, so everyone can actually get some claims. You know, some of the islands are pretty. You know, back before they expanded, and there were just a couple of servers. Some of those islands were so dense, you just could not find a place to put down a claim flag. So
the fact that, though, I mean, within just a few days of starting Alpha, we were seeing, oh my gosh, it's really crowded. You know, the fact that they responded then gives me pretty good confidence. If they haven't accurately anticipated that this time, at least we can, I think, feel like, well, yeah, they're probably going to at least deal with it, you know.
Yeah, but I think that's why there's the downtime, is that they're spinning up more servers and expanding like the island size and such, just to make sure, or maybe they might actually even be stitching them together and not be separate islands anymore. That would be a nice thing to have, but they haven't really said one way or another on that.
Well, because we have the teleporting in now, so it wouldn't be unreasonable for them to have larger islands.
Right.
Especially once they start looking at the ley line system that they've got slotted later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Read the question, Tobin.
Omid, do you have anything to say about what's going on over those 2 days of downtime, or is that all hush hush?
Does that mean still
Everything's
around?
hush hush.
Yeah, all hush hush.
I think they're kind of. I think they are sort of getting to this point where they're not sure how far they can push the technology. You know, I think they don't know how big they can make the islands. They don't know. You know, we're still very, very early. I'm surprised about. You know, obviously the time thing was put on before it, but this whole like alpha to closed beta distinction like seems very sort of blurry at the moment. Like it feels a little bit arbitrary to me. Like I don't know if they've got to a point where they
commercial.
can really...
Yeah, there's an ad going on. The terrible. I'm gonna talk over it because this is a terrible. It's that low frame rate, really horrible SOTOR commercial that just looks so bad it would make me quit if I was playing the game. Like it's just terrible, and it screams like, please give us one last try before we die. And you know, it's one of the many products that has the gutted LucasArts logo because they axed that studio. So I just got so much beef with that, and to have it interrupt us in the middle of Into the Portal, my goodness, I'm about to
How dare they
punch straight through a brick wall like Kool-Aid Man or something.
I just think about the people at ZeniMax watching that advert and just let their own future flashing in front of their eyes.
Oh, that's got to be terrible. I would hate to be on that, man.
WildStar's all right though. You should check that out.
Tobin, read the question.
Well played.
It's gonna be a thing now. And Locke is like dying.
September writes, Tobin.
Die quietly. Locke,
We lost Locke. He's gone.
He's gone with me.
Let's just
Tim.
Oh my god.
Okay. Given the nature of Landmark and Next, how well do you think the social-oriented classes would fit in, as if used as tertiary classes alongside your combat class and crafting class? For example, mayors, dancers, guessing things like jesters and things along as well.
Oh, what Tobin Ernwood
Fun.
class.
Yeah. Best class ever.
Best class ever. Number 1 EU.
Yep. How to win.
I think the best thing to look at would be the old Star Wars Galaxies game for social classes and how that might fit in. I mean, obviously, there's not going to be any social classes for Landmark since we just have the adventuring class, and you're just going to change whatever you do with whatever equipment you're wearing or, weapons, whatever. But with Next, you could definitely see social-oriented classes. And not even as tertiary classes, though, like they're suggesting, where you would have it at the same time as a combat class. You would actually physically switch to the thing and do that, and then when you want to go fight again, you switch back to a fighting class.
Mm-hmm.
I would say take Vanguard into account with this one. There are 3 ways you can level up and progress through the game. One is through combat, one is through crafting, one is through diplomacy.
Well,
And I think that's, it's not necessarily going to be that. I mean, most people probably still did it through combat anyway, because if you didn't, then you get to a level 80 area or whatever the top level area, and the creatures are going to kill you instantly should they, sniff you in a distance. But
the biggest problem I saw with that class system, though, was it really wasn't feasible to level up as crafting solely. You had to do adventuring at the same time. And it was the same with diplomacy. I mean, but with this, you actually have the chance to do just that class and nothing else if you so choose. Just maybe you won't be able to get whatever class you're looking for if you're not going to venture out there and explore.
yeah.
I think with the multi-classing system, talking about EQ Next, like with
Yeah.
what we know about that and how you can swap abilities in and out, I think it's just so prime for having those classes that you're not going to be playing all the time, and having those abilities that are very situational and very like social hub based. I think they'd really be missing a huge opportunity if they didn't have some of those social class aspects in there. I almost think, like to a certain extent, if we're going to have so many classes, will every class that we can accumulate have all combat abilities? Would there be a type of warrior class that was some kind of warrior poet, like some kind of Scottish bard? Let's call it.
Wow.
Let's call it the Ernwood class.
Yes, it sounds like
Now,
a great idea.
let's say, like you know what I mean. So he is on the one hand he is a warrior, or like I don't know, just something that they had one ability that perhaps part of it was like a kind of morale boosting buff that when used in conjunction with other social skills would have like a much broader effect or something. There's a million different ways you could do it, but I just think if you could pepper all the different classes with these different skills and give people who wanted different things out of the game different reasons to go after the same class, then I think you create these really interesting kind of convergent paths from people that are actually interested in divergent gameplay. And that's the kind of thing that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they would definitely be missing out on a huge opportunity if they didn't include things like that, which is my point.
And I also wonder how race is going to play into it, because like I don't know how much they're going to be sticking to the lore, for example, but from the lore, ogres are pretty much like leaps and bounds more powerful than all the other Combine races. They just go out there and 2 or 3 of them are going to cut a swath through like 50,000 kobolds like it's nothing. And that's, if I don't think it's necessarily going to be to that scale, but maybe it will. Maybe that'll be the sort of thing that they're, either socially inept or otherwise socially restricted, and they can take on other classes, but they won't be able to do them as well. But anything where they have to pick up something heavy and swing it at stuff, they do exceptionally well.
I wouldn't see that as being the case, because that would be a detriment for picking a certain race then at doing something you might really want to do. And that's something they're shying away from to keep the whole one character thing they're going for.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I mean, they said very early on that they didn't want it to be a situation where you pick a race because you want to do a certain thing, or you pick a race and you don't realize. It's like if you're creating a character and it goes red or blue, and you go, what? You have no other information, and you go, red, because red's my favorite. And then later on in the game, you're like, I want to be a healer, and the game goes, you can't be a healer, you pick red. Don't be silly, you're a tank.
History meet classes.
It's another situation where that's a quit point for people, and a lot of it's there's people that, like the people that watch the stream, that are really interested in the news and they want all the information about it, and they're going to go on the sites and read everything, but we are not the majority. We are not the majority that are going to be playing this game, and we need these other people to be playing the game. That's the problem.
We are the 1%.
Yeah, oh god, the horror of the 1%.
The horror, indeed.
But I think I would like to see those kind of things where you could specialize in those directions if you really wanted to, and you could become very, very focused. But at the same time, with the horizontal progression, maybe we might get in a situation where we want to be doing different things. We want to be able to do a lot of different things. And I think if you funnel people into roles too much and you restrict people too much in that, then you start blocking people off from forming different groups and approaching content in the way that they want to do it, which I think is important in a sandbox. Sometimes I just like to say lots of words. I got a
Love that.
All right, so Tobrin, read the
This
question.
question from Topographic. Currently, the sun shines underground and indoors. Should the underground and indoors be dark and illuminated only by torches?
Not on claims. On claims, it should be the sunlight shines through whatever, because otherwise you're going to have the issue of trying to build something underground, and then you have to strategically place torches just to build it.
That is true.
Or they should make an option where the sun shines at your discretion.
I think the only possible way to make that, one of the only possible ways to make that work would be to have be able to control the lighting radius of lights, like actually be able to do some sort of slider, because otherwise you end up having to put a million lights just to get any sort of decent amount of ambient light, versus if you could actually control, okay, the friggin' chandelier could light the room, because right now, of course, it doesn't.
There's two things with it. I mean, one, they're still not really happy with the state of the Lightstone, and I don't know that that's gotten any love yet. But it's the other.
Go ahead.
The other thing I was going to say is, we don't. Go ahead and say that actually. What you're going to say, and then I'll get to the next part.
With the Lightstone, I think that's more for when you're out in the world and not necessarily on your claim. It's being used on the claim now because the lighting is so wishy-washy. But if and when they do revamp the Lightstone, it'll make more sense when you're out digging in the world.
Okay, so the other thing I was going to say is dynamic lighting is the other thing. Is that you'll see you can put down trees wherever, and the sun will try to cast shadows across them and make everything look all pretty. So I think part of the reason why the light sources are so limited right now is because if someone puts down 100 torches, it's going to kill the processor. It's going to kill anybody's game who comes in that area. Yeah. Just because dynamic lights for 100 light sources in real time, that's that's kind of tough. At that point,
they've got the bioluminescence going on as well, which will exist underground. But I remember talking about this months ago when you remember the roundtable question when they were asking about dark nights and things?
Oh yeah.
The more I thought about it, the more I think in terms of gameplay, you don't need to not be able to see 2 feet in front of you for the dark to have an effect.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they can create the same effect through gameplay without having you in a situation where you don't even know where you are or where you're going. And I think that's probably the more sort of elegant solution, isn't it? To have night affect your game and to have darkness affect your game, but not actually have you sitting there squinting and turning the gamma up, which everyone does. It's like DayZ; they have really dark nights. Everyone turns the gamma on their computer up. It's just it becomes very meta.
To combat that, they could have like a fog of war.
Yeah,
where it's a big blank slate in front of you out to a certain distance.
Yeah, and things, like not being able to see minerals as far, like, because it becomes like a color differentiation thing. Not being able to see, not being able to see enemies, having more stealthy enemies coming out
The
at
first
night.
couple days, I was having such problems mining all the different metals because every time I'd go out and mine, the sun was always setting, so I'd get these long shadows being cast across the ground, and I couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
Especially in like desert with like really high mountains, and then if you were like in a valley, good luck.
I do hope that it's important though. We talk about the light stone, but I also think other types of lighting like could be something that's important. And my whole thing about all these people getting together and doing these these big excavation things. If you could have people who were lighting specialists, someone who was playing as a mage and could do like the Skyrim mage light thing.
Yeah,
I think that'd be incredible. And oh god, you could do loads of things like torches and stuff, and then you put combat into that. You think about fighting a creature in a dark room that can disappear into the shadows unless it's directly lit by a player. Then suddenly you've got a support character with like a torch function that has to be behind the group and always facing the monster, like while you're fighting, so you can see it and attack it. And to me, that creates like an incredibly interesting and important combat role that isn't actually actively fighting, but is controlling the position of the fight. You know me, I could go on about this stuff for ages. I wrote my lamp instead.
Okie
did we beat this question to death? Should we move
God,
on?
I'm really ranty tonight.
Tobin?
You're always really ranty.
Yeah, right.
Next question.
Shut up, you. I'm going easy on you, boy.
Shut up. Will there
Read
be
the
a
question,
white...
Torben.
I'm digging.
Don't push people.
This stream, my god.
Don't skip questions, Tobin. There's another one above that.
Yes, there is. And it asks, does Tobran eat deep-fried Mars bars? Surprisingly, I don't. Locke is going to die of laughter. Moving swiftly on.
All right.
Be a white before
Why do
games
you
go
eat deep-fried Mars bars? Why do you do it?
I don't know.
Why do you do it?
Enoch Tekadol writes,
Ah.
Tobin,
What's the next question, Tobin?
I've just read it out. I think you ignored me.
will there be a wipe
do.
before caves go in? We imagine so.
We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of talked
It's
about that
more
earlier.
than
where
likely.
Yeah.
If they didn't, it would cause such gameplay issues. Like, well, okay, they could create new islands, but then we were talking about that earlier. But,
Yeah.
It'd be weird.
It'd be weird. It caused more issues probably than the white.
Yeah.
Tobin?
Next question. Flarit asks, Locke, I want a pipe. What kind is that?
Hey, Flat Earth. This is the kind that costs like £5 from the market. It's never been used. It just exists as an objet d'art for my desk.
So you look
So there
classy
you go.
without being classy. Is that like you in a nutshell?
He's also got a monocle that doesn't have a glass in it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
It's a hipster
I
monocle.
think he's fancy.
Ooh, jewels. Tobin, look at
fake.
the
Shiny.
shiny. Oh no.
Yes.
Tobin.
Two can play that game.
Yo, three
Oh,
can play that
yeah.
game. Three can play that game. Deal with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have no impressive objects around me.
Arrogant. Come on, new kid.
I don't. I've got my hat, but I
Wait.
can't put it on. Well, actually, I have my Benjamin. The little
That's cool.
Benjamin.
All right, that wins.
What's the next question?
All right, Tobin.
Endermen are terrifying, genuinely. Just that sound. Yeah. It's like you get to the point where creepers don't bother you anymore, but just the noise of an Enderman will freak me out. I don't know why.
Yeah, I remember they scared me. to
Right.
death.
Find it yet?
I didn't know they were neutral.
Okay.
Read the question, Tobin. God.
Then move on, Torben.
Right. Death Rises asks, is there a time limit on buying Founders packs? I don't believe so.
Not
I
that they mentioned,
imagine
but I
that
imagine there will
once
be.
beta ends, that's going to be the cutoff for buying Founders packs. But you should be able to buy the alpha packs during beta. So
I think they'll want you to be able to buy the Trailblazer all the way up to
Live.
10 minutes before like open beta goes open for everyone. You'll always have the opportunity to get that early access into open beta.
yeah,
So but I imagine that'll be the end of it. I don't think they'll just exist forever. No, they won't exist forever. We know that. Actually.
Yeah.
Alright. considering the increase in player population going into beta and the mention of potential more servers, do you think it's more than just US and EU servers, Australian, Asian, etc.? I would imagine so.
They've talked about that. They talked about adding like Aussie servers and stuff.
But that's more of a hardware issue at that point then, rather than something that they don't want to do. Because it would make sense to put more servers there, it's just a matter of when they're going to do it.
It's one of those, every company that releases an MMO always gets asked this question, and they always go, yeah, we'd really like to.
Yeah.
But there's very few that can justify spending the money that it takes, to get, you have to decide like how many extra people will play the game because there's a server in their region. How many extra people will pay money? Like, is it just going to be a loss thing? Are they willing to take that loss?
The other thing, anything where it's going to be regions, definitely going to be in regions where they're going to have player studio set up. I don't know if they're going to actually have the game operating in places where player studio can't be set up. But right now the plan is SOE is going to pretty much handle all the servers for the game anywhere that it's going to be worldwide, and they're doing that specifically so there's no legal issues with like ProSieben or any of the other companies when it comes to player studio and station cache and those transactions. And who's got the open mic? It sounds like there's a freeway or something nearby.
Sounds like a wind tunnel. Is that an air conditioning thing? Yeah, it's one of those would be nice situations, but it's difficult for a company to justify. And I think looking at SOE's other games, I can't think of any that. Like PlanetSide 2 doesn't have Asian and Australian servers, does it?
Don't believe so.
Yeah, actually, there's one Oceania server, and I think the Asian servers are actually through a different company, but completely separate than what you and I would see.
Ah, well, there you go. That might be a hint that if they already have those relationships set up over there, if they've already got that kind of infrastructure in those areas, which, to be fair, Sony actually.
I think it was like the VP of something at Sony, main Sony headquarters that owns some portion of one of the soccer teams, which is why one of the Chinese soccer teams was busting out with the PlanetSide 2 jerseys last year.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. I really like how PlanetSide 2 looks when it's written out in Chinese. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's cool.
Tobrin.
Next
Guys,
question.
you got me playing with my Enderman now.
Oh, our fault.
It is your fault. I wouldn't have busted him out.
Okay. Cyberbull74 asks, when they add PvP to the game, should it be manually turn on your flag on or set it up by claim permission?
Why not both?
It should be
because
both.
Both and more.
With the PvP, it would make sense if there's going to be some people that want to just do big PvP arenas, and maybe they want to make it so that whoever steps foot on their claim is open for PvP, but it's
I don't think we can really answer this question until we know what the penalties are for death.
I don't know.
Well,
be a bit
with
more open
PvP, I can't imagine there would be a harsh penalty at all, because you're expected to die. It's not something that you can really avoid.
Yeah, that is.
Well, maybe you can't avoid it, Snapper. You've obviously never seen me PvP.
I'm hoping that when you enter any sort of PvP, it swaps to an alternate set of stats, so that way anything that goes on, unless it's somehow that PvP can also interact with enemy creatures that are in the world. Because the idea would be, if I go on a claim that's set for PvP, and there's someone just sitting on the edge waiting to smack me, as soon as I walk over, they're going to finish off the last health I had. Versus if there's an alternate, stat system, especially if somebody's doing their own modded content, they're doing their own campaign or whatever. So when you walk in, it rolls you 1d8 plus 4 hit points, and that's what you start with. Because it's a D&D campaign or something, and you're a wizard now.
I sure hope if it was enabled to where it's like, okay, this claim has PvP enabled by default. God, I hope it would be very visible, so you're just, oh, this looks nice, this looks pretty. How can we do that?
That would suck.
That would suck.
Well,
The claim box is covered in like a barbed wire decoration or something.
Right. It's like,
Do not go in here unless you're ready to die.
Well, they already have the settings for visible friendly claims and unfriendly claims and your own and stuff, so I suppose maybe something like that. For me, permissions like this is something that, is I think could end up being quite a big part of Landmark. If they give us enough tools to set enough of these parameters for ourselves within claims, then there can be a whole host of different ways to go about it. You could have a claim where when you go onto it, you still have to flag yourself for PvP, or there could be one that as soon as you walk on, you're flagged, or there could be one where you have to go on and then form into teams and go, or there could be one where you have to go and duel another individual, or you could set 2v1 or 1v2, you could set underground only, you could set certain weapons only, you could set you can only do damage while you're in the air, like every every type of different permission, or as many as possible, that isn't going to totally ruin the game, because we want to see content. We want people to be able to build these structures for as part of it. They build it, and then we go and we use the rules of it, and we upvote it if we think it's good, and more people go and they get more feedback and they tune it and improve it, and then more people come, and then people buy the template of the claim and set it up somewhere else, and we have tournaments and it gets bigger, and we have Twitch channels dedicated to it, and it becomes a huge thing, and we're all millionaires and stick all the money in our ears and have pipes made of solid gold.
I mean, it's one of those things where, I think in any sandbox game, the more, even the smallest options, the more options you can give to players, and the more you can put it in their hands, the more amazing stuff that's going to come out of it. I mean, it's sort of like you have to draw the line at some point of where is this going to just totally ruin someone's day and make them not want to play anymore. But if it's the more choices you can possibly give, that's where you get emergent gameplay, and that's what makes it awesome.
That's when, like what's been happening already, they gave us simple building tools, and we as players took them and found new ways of moving them, of using them, that programs hadn't even thought of. And you think, if they give us similar tools for creating game types and creating PvP, what are we as a player community, thousands and thousands of people putting thousands and thousands of hours into it, what are we going to discover using the mechanics of the game, that then the devs turn around and go, oh my god, that's amazing, and then they just slot it neatly into EverQuest Next. And I never go outside again.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So the answer to the question is both and more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so just to fit into this next question nicely, is another PvP question asking, should they set up PvP shards?
No,
Look, do not answer this question, because I know you're going to go on for 9 hours.
I'm not. I've condensed my answer. No, boring. Boo. We don't need permission. We don't need permission from SOE to do these things. We can do it ourselves.
Look, I thought of kind of a neat thing to try, maybe, where you can only see other people that are PvP if you are flagged for PvP yourself, and vice versa. So if you're flagged for PvP, you can't see anybody that's not flagged for PvP. But if you're not flagged for PvP, you can't see anybody that's flagged for PvP. Then you're not going to have the situations of people running around, oh, that person's flagged for PvP, let me flag it and real quick kill him.
But then why would you want to isolate anybody from any, because that's just why would you make the world smaller? Why would you make it feel like you're, because then people are going to walk around, if you're not flagged, they'll be like, wow, there's no one playing, am I the only one playing?
Well, then
it's Daisy.
On the flip side, though, then is that whoever is not flagged is going to be at an advantage to anybody that is flagged.
But then, if you take those people out of the world, that just becomes,
they're in the world. You just can't see them.
Yeah, but then that's not in the world. As to someone else.
Okay,
Yeah.
Then what happens when PvP is destroying terrain and non-PvP people are in that area? Do they just see random chunks of the earth get blown up or something?
Lightning strikes. It's magic.
The thing is, what Snowman's saying is a legitimate solution to this issue of different people wanting different experiences out of the game, and it's something that we've had for a long time. And it's why games are built around this instance content, because it makes sense to do it that way. But for me personally, like I hope that we can move beyond that, and we can start just bringing people together. Like, I just think so much like we talk about. I go on about this every week. But it's just different. It's different servers, and it's like we want to play. We talk about we want to play these massive games, and we want it to be social, and we want social classes. But then we don't want. Then people don't want people to multi-guild because they just want them to be in like this one little group of 20 people, and they don't. They don't want. They don't want the world to affect
PvP for you and kill you all the time. It's okay.
What's that?
I'll flag myself as PvP so I can kill you. It's okay.
I won't flag myself, and I'll wait till you're not looking. I would never do that. Everyone watch. I would never do that.
I just feel like there shouldn't be any mechanic that's like dividing people apart. It's just like it should always, if anything, tend towards here's two people, shove them together.
People will divide themselves regardless of the mechanics, though.
Right, but there shouldn't be mechanics forcing you to do that.
Why can't people? All right, let's ignore PvP. Let's take different types.
Here we go.
Ignore the question.
People who enjoy playing the game in different ways. What about people that really love exploring, and people that really love gathering, and people that love crafting, and people that love doing dungeons? There are so many ways to bring those players together for different reasons, and like all these different, like everyone can think of 100 different ways that raiders can be useful to crafters and vice versa, and gatherers and explorers and everything. And player versus player combat is just one. It's just one extra element that people are so quick to shove to the sidelines and say we don't want any kind of involvement. We want to put them in their own little cage and just let them go nuts on each other. But why can't PvP players be useful to raiders and to crafters in the same way that other types of players are? I'm not saying that everyone has to PvP. I'm not saying that everyone has to be involved in it. I don't think people should play a game in the way they don't want to. I think people should play a game to the rules of the game and not bitch and whine when the rules of the game something happens that they don't like. But they shouldn't have to engage in an activity that they don't want to. And I'd rather see ways, like Ara says, ways to bring players together and make players useful to each other rather than this kind of segregation, because it's hypocrisy, I tell you. It's hypocrisy.
So long story short, no, bad, boo.
We can do better. That's the thing.
Here we go.
It makes sense. It makes sense to do it that way, and it is a fix to the problem, but we can do better, I think.
All right.
And now,
are you done?
Tobrin.
Right, okay. Madman Moose 2 asks, Redstone kind of tool. Thoughts? Yes, it's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell a redstone is.
Someone in
he's
chat
talking about
saying
power.
they're not useful, they only want PvP. It's like you missed the point entirely. Doesn't matter. Carry on. I'm sorry.
Right, okay.
You people know not to get me on this. It's your own fault.
Does anyone here actually know much about the redstone system in Minecraft?
It basically just gives power to whatever it's connected to. So like doors and traps and what have you. It gives things the ability to move and interact.
And it lets things animate. It lets things become more interactive. Push a button and something happens over here, or like building machines in general.
Kind of,
yeah.
So the answer is
what
yes.
it can do is it can make a block active. So you end up with a system where you can create anything that you can create using a binary system. You can create with redstone, and I mean that like someone made a computer in Minecraft using redstone because all they need is for things to be able to turn off and on, and have be able to construct those gateways using it. So it's very impressive what you can do with it, and I know that it's something that they're planning on implementing in Landmark. Just that ability to activate or deactivate a block is all you need, and then people will go batshit insane on it, and it'll be incredible.
Yeah.
Well, and there was an item, and you can see it in the collection. It's no longer there since, I'm not actually sure when it disappeared, in the last couple of weeks, where it was called Solid Spark, and it said something like emits a static electricity or something like that. And it was pretty, suggestive of something that, okay, that might be, that's your redstone, and it's just, but then it disappeared. So who knows if that was like oopsie that they put it in the first place, or like we gotta wait a little longer, so let's just kind of take it out, whatever.
Hey guys, I'm back.
Welcome. Hey, Domo.
Hey.
I couldn't leave you the whole show. I was watching it from bed. I was like, they're pretty good without me.
Yeah, we don't need you anymore.
I know, I feel so bad. and then Corona sent me a picture of his balls, so I had to check that out.
Hey.
What?
At least you got a picture of some balls.
I know. It's so apparently there's these balls that you use on your back and your what?
That's a hilarious text message sound.
That was good.
Yeah, that's my text message.
That was poor timing.
It was really good timing. But anyway, so I'll check it out, Corona. Thanks for sharing that. And yeah. Anyway, continue on. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say I was back, and I'll hang out here for the next 15 minutes, and we can make it to the end.
Tobrin.
Tobrin, read the question.
He's doing a great job, Tobrin. Poor Tobrin gets beat up every time.
I know. Right, Cyberbull74 asks, what do you think of creating a player-made headband for the Lightstone to make a sort of headlamp? Yes.
Yeah.
It's an idea, yeah. They already said they're going to be reworking the Lightstone anyway, so we'll see what they come up with and then give them feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Directional light, moving light, just all kinds of different light sources. Possibility space.
We don't.
Can you imagine
really...
with the Oculus Rift or whatever, and be like,
Yeah. Oh, that'd be nice.
Imagine.
Or like light halos that Reese is doing right now.
Yeah, what's with your light tonight? It looks like you have like a white screen in front of your face.
No, it's the black screen behind me and the lights above it. So this is just kind of how it works.
It's so
divine
weird.
Intervention.
It looks like Jesus is about to come down and say something.
Yeah, I kind of like it. I think I'm gonna roll with it for a while.
Not offend Jesus.
It's not offend Jesus.
I think especially because like he's in the frame, like he's a little lower in the frame.
Yeah, he's in.
It's just like.
I think that's why he's sitting back so far, though, so he can get that special.
I think he likes
effect
it.
on his
Yeah,
head.
he likes it. Look, he likes it.
I am enlightened.
All right. Next. Are we going to answer that question at all? Oh, yeah, we talked about the headlamp. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. The one thing I would say about the headlamp, we don't have armor or costumes or any stuff other than what we, just the few outfits that we have right now. So I'd imagine if they made that, for some reason, I imagine the character's just going to be like sitting there in their fudgies with the light, the Lightstone headband on. It's like, well, I don't have clothes, but at least I have the headband.
Oh no, Burke Dave just asked, "What is an Oculus Rift? Have you been living under a rock, man?"
Okay.
So there's a red lens and a blue lens, and when you look at the thing, it separates the images.
Oh my god! Have you guys had a go on Oculus Rift?
Yeah. Oh
Yes.
yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's insane. It's like I thought it looked cool, and then I went. I don't know what you guys. I went on like the roller coaster test thing. Like that's all I've done, and it was genuine. It was so much better than I thought it was going to be, and that was like an early thing as well. But Sony are doing one now.
Yep.
Yeah, Sony, of course.
So
But which is better? The crowdsourced funded one or the one from the Megacorp? No, I don't think I'm beating up Sony here at this point. I used to work for that. I used to work for that company. I used to work for the Sony Electronics division, and I'm not beating them up. I'm just saying that you got these guys that are sort of homegrown this thing, and you got the other guys who are at Sony who's just.
Is the Sony one just for the PS4, or will it integrate with all devices? Because I thought it was just PS4.
Well, if it's PS4, that's too limited. I think it's all devices.
Well, let's see how it does. Anyway, I think it's about time for the next question,
All right, okay, we're doing more questions. All right, okay.
Read the question, Tobrin.
Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. If you're quiet for long enough, you might find out.
It is. He's not a performing monkey, Locke.
He could be.
Why are you so
cruel? But I'm not.
Why are you so
going to be
cruel?
our pet.
Why am I cruel?
That's phase 5. Not yet.
Right. Okay, Cyber74 asks, what do you think about being able to ping a map to let people in your group know where resources are on their map if you're in a group?
One?
No,
Yeah.
that's perfect.
There's just a bunch of text.
Yeah. That ping in the map is excellent. Why not? If you're in a party and you're like, hey guys, we got to go over here, instead of trying to say.
Thing is good. Drawing's good. Although it's interesting because we've talked about the nature of mini maps before and how that's going to work, and obviously with the whole underground thing, is there going to be some sort of altitude thing you can ping? So it creates a lot of challenges, but I think it's definitely something that's cool.
There's something relevant to that in the roadmap, actually. Like, I'm trying to look for it. Go ahead.
Maybe, I think they want to have waypoints at some point, kind of like PlanetSide 1 and 2 have, where you can put something down and everyone sees this glowing beacon in the distance.
Yeah, it says it right here. It says we're adding ability to add links in chat so you can designate a waypoint and be able to see it, and that's close game to launch. That's like this week.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah, because you can slash location to get you 3-digit location, can't you? So I suppose you could set a waypoint location using that.
Fu will have to check with her contract to make sure she has no non-compete clause or something like that.
Something I personally would like to see, though, is that minimap, because it really wouldn't work, and so making waypoints on the HUD with the compass would make a little more sense.
I desperately need a minimap. I'm the person who I'm just like, I'm going east. No, I'm not. I'm
a compass.
Oh, but
just a compass would be fine.
A compass would fix that. Yeah.
Okay, well,
The grapple will definitely do that. I found if I'm trying to grapple from one point to another, if I'm grappling something that's within about 5 degrees on my screen of the center, it'll angle me towards that point. If it's something maybe 20, 30 degrees, it'll fully rotate me like 90 degrees when I grapple to it. So
and it accumulates, right? Because you'll be like 5 degrees off, and then you'll go, and then it'll just kind of keep it. It accumulates.
It does that. It's really annoying because I'm like, I'm going west. I know I'm going west, and before I know it, I'm heading north, and I'm like, what the hell?
And you're like, how am I on the edge of the map? I was going the other way.
And the funny thing is I really have a good sense of direction in real life. It's just this game I get so mixed up.
The other thing I'd like to have is some ability to draw on the map and even be able to share that to other players. If there's a particular path that I use to get from point A to point B, a particular area where I know there's a lot of desert trees that'll grow, and you can kind of go through there and sweep it. Or if I just want to draw crude things and share that with other players. And,
I was gonna say,
someone's gonna draw a penis.
True drawings. I was gonna say.
Well, it's okay, but you're in the group with them, so it's okay.
Yeah.
And then someone just colors out the entire map.
Now, see, Dazzler Tudor says if Sony would only put the moss on the north side of the trees, and I was thinking that's impossible because when you rotate the tree around, the moss would stay with it. But if you guys have put down some of those rocks, some of the large rocks, the mossy rocks from the old growth rocks, if you put them down, you'll notice that no matter which way you put them, the moss is always on top. But if you notice that it's not on the sides. So what I'm saying is no matter which way you rotate it in any direction, the moss always lands on the top of the rock, which I think is brilliant. So they probably could do it where no matter which way you rotate that tree, there would always be the moss is on the right or the northern side of that tree, which is fantastic. I don't know if they have any plans for that, but so I think that's doable with the engine as it is.
Teaching everyone survival skills.
I know, right?
I always like the watch trick in DayZ. Did you ever use that?
No.
There's a thing where if you line up the sun with the oh god, I forgot.
You're talking about real orienteering because you can do that in real life.
Yeah, it's like I used to do it if I couldn't find a watch in game. I'd use my actual real watch, like lay it down on your desk, and if you line up the sun in DayZ, I think it's like if you line it up with the minute hand, then take the middle point between the hour and the minute hand and draw a line from that, then that gives you like north and south for the time of day, and you can actually do it in DayZ. You can put your watch on your desk and do it, and it genuinely works. It's amazing. You feel like such a badass, and then you get shot by a 12-year-old.
I mean, Throckmorton had just said, "Well, clouds move from north to south." I swear that even the sun and the moon like lie. I swear they're not even like following the same path.
Oh no, I've
seen
that. I've seen
they're just doing whatever they want.
The sun pass by this side, and then the moon comes up and passes by this side, and
They both go
no logic to it, sort of thing. It's funny.
Well, it's cool in a way because one time I was standing in my castle looking out my window and the moon came through and I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. Then the next night I brought somebody over to say, look at this moon coming through here, and it was on the other side of the castle. I was like, damn it, how'd that happen? The planet must be kind of wobbling through space.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking, is that it doesn't quite make full rotations. It's kind of like off a little bit, and it just kind of keeps changing every time around.
Yep.
It'd be hilarious.
All right, we got one more.
I'm sure we've got plenty more. Go for it.
Should SOE allow people to keep a freezer full of the beardless bodies of your PvP victims? Yes.
Does this violate the
It's
Geneva
like
Convention?
Trophies would be cool. If you could get a resource off dead players that you could then use to create props at a crafting station, that'd be
That'd be
Why
pretty
not?
good.
I guarantee people would do it too, because I mean, like in Eve, you can collect people's corpses
Yeah.
and stuff. People do it all the time. It's terrifying, but
Or you could make it like the Dothraki, where every kill you make, you get a longer beard, and then when you die, you go beardless.
God.
Like permadeath.
could be.
So
All right.
what? How many people have you killed?
In real life?
In real life, or you'll
You
never
have a
prove
beard
any,
there.
you'll never prove anything.
Cannot tell.
Read the question, Tobin.
Okay, I missed one from earlier, so I'll go back to it. How about player-created booby traps, landmines, bear traps, nets, tripwires, etc.?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I've already fallen in a couple. Somebody's like, "Hey, come check out my claim," and I fell in a hole once that I couldn't get out of.
Has anyone played Mighty Quest for Epic Loot?
Have not.
Yes.
I've heard it's good.
I haven't played it yet.
Okay,
But
amazing.
it's a real kind of, it's a real like you build a sort of castle and you can set traps and put monsters in it, and other people like have to. So it's like building your own sort of dungeon.
Yeah.
Like competitive dungeon building almost, and there's progression and everything. It sounds really cool, but I imagine it'll be a similar sort of system in Landmark as well. So that's another free game as well, isn't it? Bloody hell.
Yep.
I do. But
Just
yes,
don't play.
traps, traps,
Traps.
Traps, yes.
traps.
That's it,
Dropping
Tobran?
people, dropping people
That's
in
it.
love.
That's it.
That's it? That's
That's
perfect
it.
timing. It's 7:56, so
We
we
actually got through all the questions.
got through all the questions. It's a good time to wrap it up.
I can see another question, Tobran.
What? How was my pizza?
Okay,
We're gonna
that's a
answer
good
that
question. We could talk
question,
about that for an
Tobran.
hour at least.
Answer
Yeah.
the question.
Yes, it was a good
What was
pizza.
on-
I enjoyed it. It was a
What was
ham
on
and
it?
pineapple pizza. Ham and pineapple.
I
That's
had
not pizza.
It's so
That's
good.
not pizza.
I had cheeseburger pizza from Papa John's today.
That's
It had
horrible.
it had pickles on it. I'm not joking. It was weird. All right, let's move on. Okay, so let's go around the room. We'll start with Mr. Tobran directly below me. So Tobran, tell us about your channel, what you're doing, what's going on with your life, where can people find you, all that good stuff.
A lot takes so long. I'll give you the short version.
All right, short
I have a
version.
YouTube channel at youtube.com/TobranErnwood, where you'll find a weekly show called EQN Talk, where I sum up all the weekly news into one video. I also do a top 5, but I've postponed it for this week to do like a best of alpha video, which will be going up tomorrow. And that's it. And follow me on Twitter at TobranErnwood.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Legendary Neurotoxin.
You can find me here on Twitch at Legendary Neurotoxin. You can find my blog, legendaryneurotoxin.blogspot.com. Find me on Twitter at Legendary Neuro. You can find me broadcasting Wednesdays after Landmark Live with live feature rant, now featuring guests. You can find me, of course, here every Friday. Saturdays, you can find me at 1 p.m. Pacific time for procedural powerhouses. And normally, you can find me on Sundays from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific for Castles and Crap Shacks. But this weekend, I'm actually going to be at a wedding, so I'm not going to be broadcasting that.
Very nice. All right, Mr. Locke.
Hello.
Hello.
I also have a YouTube channel. It's Lock6Time. I do stuff on there.
Words.
I do this. I write a column for a website called zam.com called You're Next. That's quite interesting if you're into looking at words and divining meaning from them. Yeah. That's about it.
All right, that's all? Nothing
I
else?
went to Morocco.
Yeah,
I got a
He
lamp.
did.
got a lamp.
He brought forks, but didn't bring them the one time he needed them.
I don't know, literally the one time, the one place. Anyway, sorry.
It's okay.
I tried to warn you.
I know.
Mr. Snowman, give us your thing.
I cannot be found.
Anywhere.
cannot be killed with conventional weapons.
Yes. I'm on here now, and I join Domo on Thursdays for original EverQuest. Hopefully, we'll eventually get up to killing Nagafin and Vox, and other people will join us, but we'll see.
Yeah, we're starting our raiding. We're doing the Plane of the Void. Plane of the Void, is that what it is right now?
We're doing Plane of Time right now.
Plane of Time,
so if anybody
okay.
wants to make an 85 heroic character and join us next Thursday,
we
great.
need peeps because I was getting ruffle stomped by these little rock guys. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. So you guys are more welcome to come join us sometime. I can't guarantee all of us can get in a call together, but you can still play with us.
Yeah.
All right, Miss Era, Miss Era, please tell us about your stuff.
Well, mostly you can find me on Twitch, era_gaming. I do EQNL broadcasts every Monday through Thursday and Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific. So there's that. But I also do stuff on YouTube, era_TV, and Twitter. It's Aradia, spelled out ARADIAH_gaming. And that mainly is just to let people know when I'm streaming, because I do a lot of bonus streams as well, like Eve and Minecraft and all sorts of things.
Can you please put your links up for everybody in the chat?
I can do that.
That way they can click on them and stuff and sign up and follow.